From your local news leader, Alabama News Network at 5 is on CBS 8.
Hello, I'm Jeff Sanders.
And I'm Ellis Askew. This is Local News First on CBS 8.
History was made today with the inauguration of President Donald Trump. We'll get to that story in just a moment. But first, the threat of severe weather looms over Alabama tonight.
For the latest, let's check in with meteorologist Alicia Wilson. Alicia.
Yes, that's right. As we head towards the overnight hours, we're going to see the threat for some strong to severe thunderstorms. It's really going to be starting around 3 a.m. for West Alabama. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has most of West Alabama into a slight risk. And when you look at the hierarchy, meaning that a marginal risk means that there's a low potential for seeing any tornadic activity, with an enhanced, as of right now, across Mississippi being the highest threat or the greatest threat for seeing any tornadic activity. So regardless of where you are, we're going to see the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms. And this threat will push eastward as we go throughout the early morning hours of your Saturday morning. Then we'll see a brief break before more showers and thunderstorms begin to develop for Saturday night into Sunday morning. All is quiet as of right now. We've had a couple of isolated to widely scattered showers in and around southeast Alabama, but you see the activity beginning to gather across parts of East Texas at this time. All of that's going to be spreading towards the east over the next 12 to 24 hours. So it's going to be an active weekend ahead, as we'll have to deal with some heavy rainfall, the potential for possibly seeing some strong damaging straight line winds, and also we can't rule out the possibility of some hail and isolated tornadoes. We've got a mixture of sunshine and clouds out there, or at least that's what we had earlier, but now mainly a mostly cloudy sky with some low to mid level clouds. It's been another warm day, back up into the 70s for this time of year. We usually average right around the upper 50s for our afternoon high. Today we were again into the mid to upper 70s. It's now down to 74 in Montgomery and Demopolis and 73 in Selma. We'll be down to 69 around 7 o'clock, 65 at 9 o'clock, and continue to keep it cloudy and mild. The wind's dying down to about 5 miles per hour. But coming up, we'll talk more about that heavy rain headed our way, the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms, and then a brief cool down. All that's coming up in your exclusive 8-day forecast. Jeff, Ellis.
Thanks, Alicia. Today, Donald Trump completed the transformation from reality star to the nation's commander-in-chief.
As America's 45th president, he will preside over a deeply divided nation. Before this day, at least, all sides came together for the transition of power. Craig Boswell reports from Capitol Hill.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
And while many attended the inauguration in Washington, D.C., people in our area eagerly watched the event unfold on television.
Reporter Danielle Wallace stopped by Troy University as students there tuned in as Donald Trump took the oath of office. More now from the Troy newsroom.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
In Troy, Danielle Wallace, Alabama News Network.
Now, it's not just adults tuning in and reacting to the new president. Kids are also paying attention and giving their thoughts.
Reporter Jalea Brooks went to find out how students at one Greenville school feel about the inauguration. She has more on the story.
Students at Fort Dale Academy watched live as Donald Trump became the 45th president of the United States. Reporting in Greenville, Jalea Brooks, Alabama News Network.
And that leads us to tracking the web. If you had 30 seconds to speak to President Trump, what would you say to him? Just look for Alabama News Network on Facebook and Twitter to join the conversation.
In today's other news, the Montgomery County School Board met today to begin crafting its response to State Superintendent Michael's sentence. This comes after Sentence sent the board a notice of intention to intervene and possibly take over the school system. Andrew James joins us now live from MPS headquarters with the latest. Andrew.
Yeah, today's meeting was our first chance to hear from the board about the state superintendent's concerns, and they did vote unanimously to work with the State Department of Education on an intervention. Now, many of the issues that were highlighted in the state superintendent's letters are things that school board members say they are already addressing. One concern is that the school system doesn't have a permanent chief school financial officer, but they say they are now starting to review applications for that position. They also say it is not clear what the concerns are related to nutrition and transportation, but they believe this will be a very collaborative effort with the State Department of Education.
We are going to work collaboratively with Superintendent Sentence and his staff, and we're going to do this in a collaborative effort in order to address all of the concerns that he mentioned in his letter of intent.
Now, Superintendent Margaret Allen has set up committees to address each of the issues in that letter. Every board member will also be on one of those committees. And coming up tonight at 6, hear from one board member who says that teacher absences are a very huge problem in the school system right now. Jeff?
All right, thanks so much, Andrew. Now, the deadline for the school board to respond is February 7th, 2 days before the next State of Education board meeting.
Lamp Magnet School held its groundbreaking ceremony this morning. It took place at its new location at the old Parisians building in the Montgomery Mall, which is now known as One Center. The space totals 82,250 feet. It also has more than 20,000 additional square feet available for expansion. The campus will include a gym, softball, baseball, and soccer fields. There will be 33 classrooms, including an art lab and a computer lab. Total cost of LAMP, which includes equipment and furnishings, equals $12.6 million.
Kids, in a few months, walk through those portals, they are going to say, wow, we're ready to continue the march towards great education and be the shining example of education in Montgomery, Alabama.
And work is scheduled to be completed in June and ready for the first day of school in August.
Federal judges have struck down 12 Alabama legislative districts, saying Republicans rely too heavily on race when drawing the lines. A panel of 3 judges says the districts were unconstitutionally gerrymandered due to race. They also blocked the legislature from using them in future elections. The Legislative Black Caucus joined with the Alabama Democratic Conference to challenge the GOP drawn map. Now, Republican lawmakers argued they were trying to equalize uneven populations among the state's legislative districts.
The Macon County Sheriff's Department found human remains and confirmed them as 32-year-old Kenneth McKenzie. Kenneth McKenzie was last seen on January 6, leaving from a residence located on Ligon Court near County Road 24 in Macon County. Investigators believe that he was walking in an unknown direction in the Brownsville community.
A 2-car crash last night in Lowndes County has claimed the life of a Spanish Fort man. 43-year-old Thad Still Atkins was killed when his Hyundai car struck a tractor trailer. That wreck happened on Interstate 65 near mile marker 153. Atkins was pronounced dead at the scene. State troopers continue the investigation.
The case of Matthew Shashi, the man accused of making terrorist threats and a 12-hour standoff with police earlier this month, was in court today. A preliminary hearing for Matthew Shashi was waived this morning. Police say Shashi is responsible for written threats, spray painted around Montgomery, and firing shots at the entrance of Maxwell Air Force Base earlier this month. That led to a 12-hour standoff in the McGee Estates neighborhood as police tried to take him into custody. He was charged with 3 counts of making terrorist threats. The judge ruled for a conditional release on January 6th under orders that Shashi must seek mandatory mental treatment.
Coming up later at 5, there is new research out on people with type 1 diabetes.
Find out what it shows in today's medical breakthroughs. And thousands of protesters descended on Washington, D.C. for President Trump's inauguration. That story is next.
You're watching Alabama News Network at 5 from your local news leader with Jeff Sanders and LSSQ, meteorologist Alicia Wilson, and medical breakthroughs with Stephanie Hicks. Alabama News Network is on CBS 8.
Police arrested 95 people today as thousands of protesters descended on Washington, D.C. for President Trump's inauguration. Most of the demonstrations were peaceful, but a few arrived in town intent on causing chaos and destruction. Jamie Yukas reports from Washington.
Protesters carrying anarchy flags knocked over trash cans and destroyed windows. Saturday. Jamie Yukas, CBS News, Washington.
And more than 200,000 people are expected to take part in Saturday's Women March on Washington demonstration in protest of President Trump.
And straight ahead here at 5 o'clock, we'll tell you more about why men are taking paternity leave. Stephanie Hicks has that in medical breakthroughs. And meteorologist Alicia Wilson talks about our severe weather threat in her 8-day forecast. Stick around. Time now to talk weather with Alicia, and we are looking at the chance of some severe weather moving in tonight, is what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, it's going to be late tonight, so early Saturday morning into around midday. That's the time frame that we're looking at possibly seeing some strong to severe thunderstorms.
And after the nice weather we've seen this week, sometimes you always feel after we've been so blessed, there's always that chance of some severe weather.
Well, winter has to make a comeback, and as it does, the cold air comes back and the warm air has been in place. So it's going to be a bit of a clashing of the air masses. That's what we'll see as we head into the weekend. But before we make it there, I want to show you a great photo that was sent in from Steve in Manila. Here's what it looked like earlier today. Remember, if you have any weather photos, you can always send those in to weather@alabamanews.net, and we'll show those right here on the air. It's all quiet across the river region at this time. Another mild one for us as far as this afternoon goes, as we've been into the 70s. There have been a couple of isolated showers in and around parts of southeastern Alabama, but we've been rain-free since the rain that we had last night. We picked up anywhere from 1/4 of an inch of rainfall to over an inch across West Alabama. So we got a good soaking rain, and we didn't have much in the way of severe weather, but that's going to be changing as we head towards the late overnight hours into early tomorrow morning. The current temperature is still into the lower 70s at this time at 74 in Montgomery. It's now down to 69 in Ozark, 73 in Tuskegee, and 74 currently in Demopolis. So our cold front is still well out to our west, but we're going to see several disturbances headed our way over the weekend, and one of those will be pushing out of the northwestern half of the Gulf of Mexico, and that's where we're already seeing gathering of some showers and some embedded thunderstorms, especially back out to our west. So this will be the first round of rain that we'll see later on tonight, on into early tomorrow morning. Then a secondary system is going to be swinging across the central and southern plains, and again impacting us with the possibility of seeing some strong to severe thunderstorms as we get into Saturday night on into Sunday morning. So a bit of a 1-2 punch as we go throughout the weekend. We take you through the next 24 hours here. You can see the clouds are going to be intensifying or thickening up as we head through the overnight hours, and around 4 o'clock in the morning, that's when we start to see that first wave of rain, and along with some embedded thunderstorms pushing out of eastern Mississippi, making their way into West Alabama. That threat for seeing those strong to severe thunderstorms is going to push farther towards the east, and around midday tomorrow, we could potentially see some isolated tornadoes, possibly some hail and straight line winds. That's going to be more of a threat, I think, as this system begins to get more organized and push a little bit farther towards the east. It's all out of the area by tomorrow afternoon. They're a little bit more in the way of a few lingering showers as we head towards the latter half of the afternoon. But as we get into late Saturday night into early Sunday morning, we're watching another system kicking towards the east. And with that, we'll see the threat again for possibly some strong to severe thunderstorms again. The main idea is to just be weather aware as we go throughout the weekend, and especially during the overnight for tonight. You may want to have that weather radio handy and stay tuned to what happens, as we could possibly be dealing with some nocturnal storms, possibly capable of producing some brief spin-ups, and it's those brief spin-ups that could possibly lead to some damage across the area. So we'll be watching out for that. Another threat will be some flooding, ponding on the roadways, as these storms are going to be producing some heavy rain, looking at the heaviest of the rainfall across parts of West Alabama and farther north into Birmingham. But you see the picture being painted here with the purple indicating anywhere between 3 to 5 inches of rainfall back towards the west and Demopolis. It's indicating over 3 inches, and farther south it begins to fall off a little bit, but nonetheless heavy rainfall expected, and we could see even locally some heavier totals a little bit farther towards the south and the east. So it's going to be a washout for the weekend. You can count on the rainfall, but once it gets out of here early Monday morning, we cool down and we're left with some windy conditions. It's going to be a cool, windy day for your Monday, sunshine for Tuesday and Wednesday. Next time we'll see some rain chances headed our way will be for next Thursday. And that's a look at your exclusive 8-day forecast. We'll be right back.
In health news, new health concerns for children with asthma.
And more men are taking paternity leave. News anchor Stephanie Hicks joins us now with today's medical breakthroughs. Stephanie.
Yeah, times are changing. The number of women taking maternity leave has not changed in more than 2 decades. That's according to researchers who say the number should be increasing, but it's not. During the same time, the number of fathers taking paternity leave has more than tripled. Researchers point out the number of fathers on leave is still much more lower than moms taking off. Children with asthma are about 50% more likely to become obese, according to researchers at the University of Southern California. But their research also shows that children who use inhalers when they have an attack are less likely to be obese. Researchers have found people with type 1 diabetes have inflammation in their digestive tract, especially in the gut. Doctors are not sure if diabetes created the gut problems or if it's the other way around. And that's a look at today's medical breakthroughs. For more on these stories and others, visit our website at alabamanews.net. Jeff Ellis.
All right. Thanks so much, Stephanie.
And straight ahead at 5, meteorologist Alicia Wilson will give you one last look at the weather forecast for the weekend.
And if you love cheese, we'll tell you why you should eat a little extra today. Stay with us. But first, let's get a check on the roadways with Jerry Howell.
We've had a busy afternoon of accidents, getting a little bit of a breather right now. 65 north and south carrying a lot of traffic, so is 85 south, particularly approaching the interchange. 85 northbound busy and Taylor Road at East Chase lined up. We just checked with Tumpka Highway at Redland Road. All those traffic lights bunched up, but you can still make it through with one light cycle. If you're ready to buy your dream home on Lake Jordan or sell your existing home on the water, call Bo Evans Realty in Prattville. Bo Evans Realty can make it happen on Lake Jordan, 361-4661. I'm Jerry Howell for CBS 8.
And before we go, today is National Cheese Lovers Day. Cheese making is an age-old practice, so old, in fact, that it's not known for sure how it was discovered. The discovery may have been an accident.
So the theory is this, that ancient people transporting milk in sheep stomachs noticed that eventually the milk changed form, separating into whey, and voila, cheese was born. It's likely the early cheesemakers then improved the process by using salt as a preservative. I truly thank them for their endeavors.
Right, it doesn't sound so great the way they could have discovered it, but hey, I like cheese.
Alicia, one last check on the weather.
One last check here. We're looking at skies remaining on the cloudy side for tonight with some lower 60s and some thunderstorms moving in late in the overnight around 3 o'clock in the morning for West Alabama. Jeff, Ellis.
All right, thanks, Alicia, and thanks for watching Alabama News Network at 5 here on CBS 8. Remember, you can watch our most recent newscast 24 hours a day on alabamanews.net or our mobile app.
Local news is now over on ABC Montgomery, and at the top of the hour again here at CBS 8, Scott Pelley's up next with the evening news.